1-2 is going to be working on integers and adding and subtracting positive and negative numbers. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. If I have something like -4 plus 7, think of it this way. Let's say that all of my negatives were blue. So I would need 4 negatives. 1, 2, 3, let's put one over here, 4. Now I need 7 positives, and I'm going to make my positive green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, this is just to give you a visual. Now if I were to group these, the minute they're grouped, they are done. They're gone. So I'm going to group them, a plus for a minus. Now they're both gone. Can't use them. A plus for a minus. Both gone. A plus for a minus. Both gone. A plus for a minus. Both gone. Oh, well, you'll notice here that I'm all out of negatives. I have no more. That means I'm done. So my final answer is whatever I have left. Well, I have positives left, so my answer is going to be positive, but how many do I have left? 1, 2, 3 left. So my answer is positive 3. So when solving the problem, -4 plus 7, my answer is going to be positive 3. Okay? Let's try another one. Now you can use a visual like this to help you if you need to. But just remember that a negative is the same thing as subtract, and a positive is the same thing as add. Let's try another one. Okay, what if I have 5.6 take away 9.2? Well, this is where drawing a picture might become difficult because we have decimals. Well, we obviously are going to subtract, but you can clearly see that 5 is smaller than 9. So this is kind of like $5.60 take away $9.20, because you could always add a 0 here. So I know I'm going to subtract. I'm just going to go ahead and put the bigger number on top just because it makes the actual operation a little easier to do. But I know my answer is going to be negative. How do I know that? Well, I look at this first digit. Which number is bigger, 5 or 9? The 9 is bigger. So I'm going to keep that negative sign. So I know my answer is going to be negative. So now let's just go ahead and subtract. 2 take away 6, well, you can't do that. So we borrow from the 9, it becomes an 8, and this becomes a 12. 12 take away 6 gives me 6. Bring down your decimal, and 8 take away 5 gives me 3. So your final answer is negative 3.6. All right, now what if we have one with fractions? So we have something like 4 3/4 plus a negative 3 3/4. All right, well, first of all, I don't like to write any problems side by side in math. I prefer it to go up and down. So let's go ahead and do that. We have 4 3/4. Now, whenever you have two symbols stuck like this next to each other and they're opposite, the negative always wins. So we can actually get rid of this plus sign altogether. And when we do that, it's the same thing as saying take away 3 3/4. It's the same thing. Okay? Now, the next thing I want to look for, are my denominators the same? They are. So that means the denominator stays the same, and we go ahead and subtract. 3 take away 3 gives me 0. Oh, well, we can't have a 0 as a numerator, so when that happens, that whole thing just canceled out. It's gone. So we can actually just go, oops, cancels out. And then we have 4 take away 3, which just gives us 1. Now, how do we know if it's positive or negative? Well, we look back at the original problem. 3 versus 4. Which number is bigger, 4 or 3? Well, 4 is bigger. And what kind of sign came with the 4? A positive came with the 4. So I know my answer is going to be positive. Okay? Let's try another one. All right, what if I have 1/4 take away 12. All right? Well, first thing, we want to write these up and down. And we do that by putting 1/4, take away 12. Because 12 is a whole number, 1/4 is a fraction. I can't put the 12 underneath the 1/4. So when that happens, we need to find a common denominator, okay? Because this is actually like 0. And I can't do 0 take away 12, okay? So 1 whole. If I borrow 1 whole from the 1/4, that means I have 4/4, okay? Which just became something that looks like this. 12 and 4/4 minus 1 and 1/4. Okay, because I changed this to a 1 by taking the 1 away. Okay? 4 take away 1 is going to give me 3/4. And 12 take away 1 is going to give me 11. So my final answer is 11 and 3/4. However, is it positive or negative? Well, which is bigger? 1/4 or 12? 12 is larger. What sign came with the 12? It was negative. Don't think, oh, that's subtraction. It doesn't mean it's a negative sign. Same thing, guys. Negative and subtraction symbol are the same thing. Now, if you have two negatives side by side, let's say like this, separated by a parenthesis, when that happens, we turn them both into positives. All right? So, two negatives side by side, okay, SBS, side by side, equals a positive, because a negative and a negative make a positive. If a positive and a negative are side by side, okay, if these are side by side, then the negative wins. Okay? So just some things like that to keep in mind to probably help you. The biggest problem you're going to have on this session is making sure that when you're dealing with the fractions, you are getting the common denominators. Okay? All right. Hopefully this helped you on your homework.